Should we talk about the men?
I think we could both agree she's an incredible athlete. What she did this past fall is incredible, but she also had an incredible career. So,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm not taking anything
two
away
incredible things.
from the career as much as you want to be like, hey, that indoor 3K title at NCAA's. That was it. That was it. Top
I'm
10.
just saying, I don't know.
Top 10
It's hard to
performance.
win
No, it's fine.
NCAAs. You got to be sharp at that
Men's.
moment.
Oh, it is hard. It is definitely
I've never won
difficult.
NCAAs, so
You know what? We should revisit this argument in like 30 years. And if anybody did it better than her, then maybe we can revise it. Correct?
well, I'm willing to predict no one's going to do this in 30 years.
This makes it more impressive. Maybe it's a top five
Not
performance
really.
then. Moving on. Men's side of things. This race, as predicted, I said it was going to be messy. It ended up being messy. Albert Korir gets the win. 208.22. He was the runner up in 2019, but did not get a lot of love in the pre-race. Uh, El Arabi and Faniel from Morocco and Italy, respectively, took it out and were leading. Not they didn't take it out, but they got control of this race and were leading for a good chunk of it. And it was hard to tell what was going on behind them. Obviously, the two people we highlighted in the preview, Abdi Nagy and Kenenisa Bekele, um, finished farther back in fifth and sixth. There's a lot to. I mean, there's a lot of individual performances to dissect here, Gordon, in the top 10. Obviously, Elkanah Kabet of the U.S. runs a PB 2:11:15. Great race for him. But this was one of those races where you had a feeling those two guys weren't going to hold on, but you didn't know what would happen when he got caught. Kibiwat Candy was part of the group that caught him. You're like, okay, this is the dude. He's a half marathon world record holder. He's going to be fine in the back half. And then it took another turn, and then before you knew it, the race was over. And it went from confusing to very clear very quickly for me.
Yeah, career. I mean, he was runner up in 2019, so it kind of makes sense that he would have been in the mix, and it also doesn't make sense why we didn't really talk about him in our previous show. It shows how names can be distracting when looking at elite fields. Like, oh, Bekele. Oh, let's talk about Ben True. Ooh, let's talk about um,
Mm,
Candy. But Korir was just sitting there. Hey guys, I got second
yeah.
last time we had this race. I'm going to come out here and I'm going to win it, and he did. 208.22. Had a great celebration.
Mm,
Looked like a little bit of when a lanky man celebrates. It's always fun to watch because it's very like stick figure, and it was it was fun seeing him win. He was very thrilled about it. Korir getting the win. This is probably his first major win. Is it his
hmm
first major
Yeah.
win? So impressive run for him. And yeah, I was. You were right. You say like it kind of looked like what's going to happen, what's going to happen, what's going to happen, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, this is happening. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it had like that unknown, and then all of a sudden a known with Korir pulling away and winning by almost a minute over
Yeah.
the Moroccan athlete.
Yeah. Because you thought, okay, Candy's got a good shot at this. Candy ended up finishing 5 minutes behind him in ninth.
Yeah.
He completely fell apart in the back end. Cabet, that's a big run for him because now he's in position to be on the world championship team. He needed to finish up in that was it top six to make sure he had a spot. Takes care of business there. So congrats to him. Nagy was in fifth. He was back the whole way. Bekele was never a factor. He was never really in this thing. He finishes. Credit to him. Finished both his marathons this fall. He was doing Berlin and New York, but wasn't in it. Finishes just a second ahead of Ben True, who closed really well, but was farther back at the start. And Nathan Martin of the U.S. eighth, 2:12:57, and then as I mentioned, Candy ninth ahead of Jared Ward, who got 10th in 2:14:06. You want to talk about Quebec first, and then Bekele and True?
Yeah, we'll talk about yeah. Well, I just want to talk about maybe I want to talk about Bekele and True, and Bekele beating True by 1 second is the reason why Ben True won't be on the world championship team.
Let me double check. I don't think so. I think he would have been out anyway, but let me check because he was
Because
seventh,
if he would
right?
have got, well, if he would have beaten Bekele, he would have got sixth. True would have been sixth.
So okay, that would have tied him with Colin Mickow and oh, I think you
What
might
did
be right
McCall?
actually.
What did McCall run in Chicago?
It, let me check this out. 1 second.
He ran like
I know we did
he
this.
ran like 213,
I thought
right?
I thought it was two. It was 2:13:31.
Yeah. So Ben True losing by one
This is
second to Kenenisa Bekele is why he is not on the World Championship team.
gotta
That
lean.
sucks.
Gotta
That
lean.
sucks, man. That is.
Yeah. Do you think
Oh
he would have done
man.
it though?
Yeah. Just got
You
sponsored.
think so?
Yeah. Why not?
All right. Well, if you're not running in your sponsor's gear, if you're running for Team USA, the same reason you talked about with Seidel, try to get two
Yeah, but
marathons
True's
in
different
next
from
year.
True's
Well,
different
I
from
know
Seidel.
he's
Seidel, yeah.
yes, he's old. He's older, but also he's new to the marathon. I don't know if he'd want to go and run it in a championship setting. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But yeah, you're right. I guess I didn't catch that at the moment. I thought he was still one spot too far back, but and then I thought with Quebec being in front of him that would be enough. But yeah, you're right. So Benny gets bounced. So it's Rupp, Quebec, and Mickow there. I mean, choose in position if one of those guys decides to scratch,
What's
which
more
would not be.
impressive? McCall running 213 in Chicago to get sixth, or Ben True running 212 in New York to get seventh?
True.
Okay.
True. More
So
impressive. Yeah.
it's so we can now just officially
This
say
is
that the
exactly what I
selection process
said.
is flawed. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is obvious because it depends on things such as Kenenisa Bekele. I mean, if he had DNF'd or had just completely started walking, which totally was possible, that's impacting the U.S. selection, and that has nothing to do with the U.S. selection. But I still think True ran pretty well for a debut, despite that. I don't think he was prioritizing the World Championship team because he did stay so far back
I'm just saying.
ear-
Doesn't matter.
early in the race.
That one
I'm just saying.
second by
No, you're right.
Bekele should not be deciding our team. Anyway, I think it should have been like your finish, provided you have to finish in the top 10, but it's based off the order behind Americans. So it should have been like
Mm.
so like it's Quebec was a 1, True was a 2, Nathan Martin was a 3, and you compare, and so Colin Benny is a 1 because he was a top American. Rupp is a 1. Whoever was the top second American, I guess, was Macau, is a 2. So therefore, it would be actually in this situation, it would go Rupp, Quebec, and Benny, which I think I would be more okay with. Take the top American in each. I think that would have been fair, in my opinion. So
Yeah,
Colin Benny
I
should be in over Macau. That's
listen.
long story short.
The original flaw here is they announced the selection procedure during qualification.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the problem with it. I mean, True was. I'm trying to just find other comparisons here. True was 4.5 minutes back of the winner. Mickow was like 7 minutes and 20 seconds back of the winner. I don't know. I don't know. The whole thing is flawed unless you decide to let him line up and run. I think people would really want to see True run in that race because
Yeah.
he's a guy moving up in distance and he had success on the track, and people want to see the track guy how well they can do in the marathon. And since he is later on in his career, you want to see more opportunities. But this could mean that he runs Boston in the spring, and then in the fall he runs a fast one. Maybe he runs Berlin this time, or maybe he runs Chicago, and then we can see what he has in him. I just want to see, and you should never do it after one marathon because people can have big jumps up in performance. But I think about after three, you can predict pretty well what someone's future is, or at least their ceiling is going to be in the marathon. So I want to see him get two more in because we've seen Americans run 2:12 before. That's not common, but
Yeah.
can he be a guy on a flat course who goes under 210, under 209? Well, that's a much smaller group.
Okay. On Quebec, he's 38 years old, qualifies for the
Yeah.
World Championships. He was a guy who none of us were talking about. We were all talking about True, Drawdy, Ward, Quebec, kind of just in a similar way that we kind of no one was talking about Abdi Hamid, Abdi Abdirahman
Yeah.
for the Olympic trials. He just, oh yeah, forgot about that guy. Once
Mhm.
again, Quebec is that like under the radar man who comes in and finishes top five. He wasn't even like finishing sixth here. He finished top five, finished fourth,
Mm.
basically won that second group, right? Because the top three were all 209 or faster. He was the top guy in the
Mhm.
211 world. So it was a big difference between third and fourth, but fourth place is fourth place. Same position that Molly Seidel finished in on the women's side. And
Yep.
PB qualifies for the world champs, extending his career yet again to
Yeah.
into 2022 at age 38.
Yeah, good run. Good run for him, and beat Olympic medalist and Kenenisa Bekele right behind him. So got some victories over some big time runners. Nagy, I thought would be more of a factor, but maybe the combo of the Olympics was a little bit too much for him. Bekele, it didn't surprise me. We talked going in about why he should not be considered the favorite, and that makes a bunch of sense. I think this is kind of who he is now, third in Berlin and then sixth here against a tougher field. I think aside from that 201 in Berlin in 2019, his marathon career has been really up and down, to say the least. A lot of DNFs, a lot of DNSs, a lot of underperformances. People were putting crazy amounts of weight into how well he did in cross country to explain why he would do good in New York, which even if you've run those cross country races recently, doesn't make a ton of sense because hills on pavement are different over 26.2 miles than they are over a 10K cross country race. And then you factor in that we're talking about Bekele running cross country 20 years ago, 15 years ago, as if that's going to matter. I mean, I think that's kind of ridiculous at this point to say that that matters. So he is who he is. I don't know what the plan will be for him in 2022. He's 40 years old. He'll be turning 40 that year. I don't know if there's going to be a clear endpoint of this is it, but it just it's hard to see him winning another major.